We know a lot of Californians are excited about the opportunities that SB 9 offers, including the lot splits and duplex conversions across the state of California. This is an important next step in the process of determining the eligibility of your parcel for SB 9. We fielded a lot of questions from folks who want to know if their lots are eligible for SB 9. And there's an important first test that you need to run through. Number one is make sure it's in the census area designated as urbanized. And number two is to make sure it's correct zoning. Hey there, Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates. We've been helping buyers and sellers and tenants and landlords in Southern California and beyond during these crazy days. And we are excited about SB 9 and the opportunities it brings. To all those who watched our first video, we appreciate you reaching out. We're going to continue to bring this content. So if you're ready to help figure out whether your parcel is eligible for SB 9, hit that like button and let's get started. Let's dive into one of the first important criteria for SB 9. Whether you're doing a lot split or you're doing the duplex conversion, it must be in an urbanized area per SB 9 bill text. And we're big fans of primary resources. Go to the text and actually read the text so you can see for both the lot split and for the duplex conversion, it needs to be an urbanized area per the Census Bureau. Don't just assume your parcel falls within the urban areas per the Census Bureau. Why not look it up? Well, what we did is we dove in and we found the tool you can use to actually look up your address. So we're using a GIS system here. That's Geographic Information System. It overlays data over a map, and there are tons of them out there. Some are primary resources, some are secondary. So this one is to help you determine whether your parcel falls within an urban area in the state of California. And we're going to show you very quickly how to use it. The link to this GIS map is in the video description below. Also, of course, our email newsletter subscribers get this. So go ahead and click on that link and it's going to pull you way up in the United States. Now you can do a couple of different things. One is you can zoom in, and as you zoom in, you can start to see that the different urban areas start to come into view. And it's no surprise, Los Angeles, Oceanside, San Diego, big urban areas there. So parcels within these areas will qualify for SB 9 under the requirement that they're in an urban area. There's much more that still needs to be determined, and we're going to go through zoning next. So we're going to show you another important tool that's built into this, and that is you can actually search by address. So what you're going to do, of course, you can zoom in, and that's somewhat convenient. You get to see big areas. But over here on the right, there's a little magnifying glass that says search. When you click on that, you'll be able to type in an address or a city. So we use this tool to check out a couple of listings we have coming. Once you type in the address, it's going to zoom in and it's going to show you if it falls within an urban area. So it's not 100% accurate. The parcel that we looked up is right over here, and this is a future listing we have coming. The sellers aren't going to take advantage of SB 9, but in the listing, when I advertise this for sale, I'm going to mention that it is potentially possible to take advantage of SB 9. And it does pass the first test. It is in an urbanized area. So there's another family I'm helping out that owns several properties in Wrightwood. So I wanted to be able to help them out and figure if SB 9 is something they could apply in the marketing of those properties that they own in this relatively sleepy town. Now it's a beautiful area. It's got cabins and close to the mountain. I wasn't sure if this was considered urban based on the Census Bureau. So come to this tool, type in Wrightwood, and we can check out the whole city. So as you can see, as long as it falls within these streets that are grayed out, those are the urban areas within Wrightwood. So the homes due that I'm helping them with. So the homes from this portfolio potentially could use SB 9 to do a lot split as long as they meet some of the other requirements. But this is the most basic, the first requirement to take into consideration. And we have the link below so that you can use this tool no matter where your parcel is in the state of California. I recommend starting here first. Even if you're 100% sure it's a very urban area, check this box off by putting the address in and searching to make sure it falls within the Census Bureau urban areas. The next big filter is zoning, and we're about to show you how to figure out the zoning in your parcel. We are back at the text of the bill, and as you can see, whether you're doing the lot split or you're doing the duplex conversion, it needs to be a single family residential zone. That is specified in the text of the bill. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at how you can determine the zoning for your parcel. So this is another important step in determining whether your parcel will be eligible. In fact, this is probably going to be one of the bigger filters to determining whether properties are eligible. Now here's the thing, it is going to be very different depending on where you are in the state of California. Zoning information varies wildly. Zoning designations, which I will also discuss, vary widely. The bill is general enough that it includes anything that's single family residential. So the way to get started is go into Google. Google is your friend. There's plenty of resources out there. Be careful. There's companies that will go ahead and do a report for a fee to give you your zoning and a few other things. They may be legitimate. I can't speak to them. We're not using those services. We're not discussing those services. This is trying to go directly to a primary resource to get the information you need. So the easiest thing to do to start is to type in the city where your property is, the word zoning map, and the letters GIS all together. That's again, the Geographic Information System. Cities that are more advanced will have an online GIS map that you can search. So for example, what we have pulled up here is called ZNet. This is for LA unincorporated areas. They have created ZNet, which is a GIS enabled map so that you can find the zoning of a parcel. Other cities aren't quite as advanced and may just have a PDF of a zoning map up. So for example, this is Costa Mesa, a place where I sell a ton of real estate. They do not have an online GIS system. You can download this PDF and then plot out and find where the R1, the single family residential zone is, and see if your parcel falls into there. But you can't type in an address. This is more of a manual process. Here on this GIS system, and a lot of cities have these and areas across California have these, you're able to actually type in the address. So here we are typing in the address for a listing we have coming. This is one that we just confirmed is in the urban area. And now we are here, and again, it's close, but we want to make sure that that dot's right in the middle of a street right now. That's not the exact parcel. So there's still a little bit of manual work. It's actually this one right here. So this parcel, it says, is zoned light agricultural. It's zoned A1. That doesn't seem to help us. If it was zoned R1, we'd know theoretically, until we check the building code to confirm, we'd know that R1 is typically one residential unit per lot. This says A1. So what we need to do is, this great GIS system is going to allow us to click more info. And it's actually going to take us to the zoning ordinance. That's what you're going to need to do. Once you have the zoning designation, whether it's R1, R3, A1, whatever it may be, you're going to have to confirm with the city code what that actually means, if that means single family residential. So this link allows us to go ahead and determine what A1 means. So we click on agricultural and we see permitted uses in the A1 zone. So while A1 is agricultural and doesn't necessarily on the face of it allow residential single family, when we look at the permitted uses, what do we see here first? Single family residences. So A1 does appear to be a single family residence zone, even though on the face of it, it may not have been obvious. So that's what you're going to do in your local area. You're going to determine what zone the property is in, and then you're going to look at the code for the city, the zoning code, and you can Google that and find the city zoning code to determine what that code means. And as long as it says single family residential, for the most part, you should be okay. If you do not have a helpful GIS system and you're just looking at a PDF zoning map like we have to do for Costa Mesa, number one, make sure this is the most recent version. That's very important. And you can see, well, you can't see because my head's in the way, but behind me they have some dates. So you want to make sure that this is the most recent zoning map. That's why going to the city website, usually you can find the most recent version because zoning can and will change. Up above me, you'll see the R1 zone is the single family residential zone. R2 and R3 are multifamily. Zoning designations are not uniform. I was just talking to a gentleman from Encinitas. We were discussing his property. I was trying to help him through the basic steps, and his property was zoned R3. Well, R3 in Encinitas is a single family zoning designation, but it just means you have to have a bigger lot. It has to be over 14,500 square feet. In Costa Mesa, if the lot's R3, it's multifamily zone. It isn't eligible for SB 9, so that's important to understand. That's why you want to look at the municipal code. So because we don't have that handy hyperlink from a GIS system, we have to do some digging. So what we're doing for Costa Mesa is we're going to see what the R1 code is. It did say single family residential on the map, so we should be fine. But let's take the extra effort. So we went ahead and Googled Costa Mesa Municipal Code R1. At the top of the page, it does show us the definition, but I want to dig a little deeper to make sure that this is the accurate. So we do know that qcode.us is where the municipal code is stored. There's a search function on here. So we type in R1, let's see what we come up with, and we can go to development standards. There's a whole lot more, but in here we can see that R1 is for one residential unit, plus a whole lot more. A few more important points about zoning. So zoning can be very tricky, as we discussed. There aren't any standards across the state of California. You will have to figure out exactly what the parcel is and then dive into the municipal code to figure out whether that means single family. As mentioned, R3 in Costa Mesa is very different from R3 in Encinitas, California. Another important point is just because you have several structures on your parcel right now doesn't mean that it's technically not a single family residential zone. So in some cases you can have a duplex or triplex that is legal non-conforming, and by non-conforming it doesn't match the zoning. Usually this is a property that was grandfathered in at that non-conforming use and it's still legal and allowed to sit there. It could be illegal non-conforming. Maybe those extra structures shouldn't be there and the city will make you take them down. So that's why it's important. You need to go to the base zoning. Zoning can and does change over time, so just because you thought it was one thing, you may be right, but you need to check to see what that zoning is today. Of course, you're probably thinking, this is a lot of work to figure out whether my parcel is eligible or not. Can I just call up the city and get the answer? The short answer is yes. You are going to go to the planning desk and ask them the very same things that you're researching right now. But the planning desk can be wrong. I've actually seen it myself with clients. You want to go in with as much ammunition and understanding as you can to make sure that what you're hearing is true. So before you go into the planning desk, make sure you understand the concepts we've shared in this video, and I have more content coming as well for important things that you'll need to ask at the planning desk. So make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on that. The other big question is, you may be saying, well, can I just hire somebody to do this? And again, the answer is yes. But at the very least, you run it through this test, you'll be able to get an idea whether the property is a candidate or not, and whether it's worth actually spending any money on moving forward with someone. Leave your questions below. We got a lot of great feedback and questions on video number 1 about SB 9, and we're gonna keep the content coming. Your questions help us figure out exactly what it is that you need to know. So please leave your questions below, and also feel free to reach out. Of course, subscribe to our free weekly email newsletter where we cover topics like SB 9, eviction moratoria, and trends and data for the housing market, plus a whole lot more. We have a link below so you can do that. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Christian Walsh with Wire Associates, and we appreciate you.